On this week at All Star Fandom, we take a deep dive into Mortal Kombat. In the wake of the new Mortal Kombat 1 video game trailer, we talk about that along with the movies and where we see that game going in the future. So let's not waste any time. Mortal Kombat Fandom. Let's talk about it. Welcome to All Star Fandom, and today we're going to be deep diving into Mortal Kombat Fandom. And there was no other person that I would love to talk about this with other than my brother Mike that's joining me. But before we get to that, make sure you like, follow, subscribe, do all the social media stuff. All the links are in the description below of this video at All Star Fandom Show. Thanks for subscribing in advance. But without further ado, I want to introduce my guest. He's my brother. He's probably the reason I like Mortal Kombat as much as I do. I shouldn't have been playing it when I was, 6, 7 or so years old, but we were. It was a different time. Mike, introduce yourself to the people.
Well, my name is Mike, and Dion's my brother, and like he said, we've been playing Mortal Kombat since day one.
Yeah, and I think, and I want to talk, this is what I want to jump into real quick before we jump into Mortal Kombat in video games and movies, and with the new one coming out. But that first game dropped in 95, Mike. We had a Sega, and this is my earliest memory of that game. Back in the day, obviously, they came with the video game manuals, right?
Right.
Maybe I'm sensationalizing a little bit in my mind, but this is how I remember it as a kid. In the back of that book, it had like the notes pages, right? And and I just remember, and I don't even know how you would figure this out, but I just remember you writing down codes to get the blood code for Mortal Kombat 1. Am I making that's what you were doing, right?
Yeah, actually, we was in high school, we was guys that had the Sega version, the Nintendo version. Yeah. They was talking about a code for blood, and so we had the Sega version. So I just took a chance and got it from them and started working on putting it in, like the controller, whatever. And the end, everything, it worked.
And that's the thing. Like, okay, so Nintendo's blood was green because they were obviously more family friendly. But then obviously, okay, you were talking to your friend. I didn't know the story at all. I didn't know. I just thought something came down from heaven. You were like, put it here and put the combination in here. I had no clue. But I just remember you writing those down, and then that didn't work. Restart the game. Try this. That didn't work. Restart the game. And then all of a sudden we got to ABACABB. I will never forget that code. I'll never forget that code, and just hearing like Scorpion say, "Get over here" after it. So ballpark, Mike, I know it was a long time ago. About how long did it take you to crack that?
Probably about a week.
Okay. And this was
about a week.
And this was again before time of like cheat code, like internet, and like just trying to figure out it was that time when, like, you knew this somehow, you heard it in passing or something. It's just like everybody knew to blow the cartridge if something went wrong. That was in a manual anywhere. We just knew how. We just knew to do it. Okay, but that's my earliest memory. So for our first segment, we're just going to talk about, like, Mike, how did you become like a huge fan? You just talked about like the blood code, and we got that game on Sega when it came out in 95. What about Mortal Kombat just makes you like, okay, that's my go-to fighting game, and that's one of like the franchises I like the most?
Well, actually, I first came across it like when we had Sega, and we had it was a magazine, like the gaming magazine. I can't remember.
Was it Game Pro?
Probably so, yeah.
Yeah.
And it was like a picture of it, in the magazine, and like it had all the characters on it, and the advertisement about it, and I think later on that year, like we had went to the state fair or whatever, and I played it for the first time, the
Yeah.
arcade version, and I put all the money I had in that
Oh,
game.
yeah.
You know, I probably put at least $5 into it, playing it. Five,
Yeah.
almost 10. Just me and some guys that I was in school with, and just playing it. And back then it was like, it just the look of it was realistic. That was one thing.
Yeah, it was
that,
very
like,
different than Street Fighter.
Yeah, because it was so realistic. And then the violence with it, the punches, the blood, and all that. So yeah, I mean, from that moment on, I was hooked to it. Everyone that would come out year after year or whatever, and just everything that was Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, and I think all of that trickled down to me because that was a game that we had. Again, I keep telling people, late 80s, early 90s, that's a different time, man. Like I talked about how I had like a RoboCop toy. They should have never had merch, It's just a different time. But
Yeah.
but given that, like, again, I probably never ever beat you in the first one. I was super young. We'll chalk it up to me being young.
Oh,
I probably
yeah.
never really beat you in the second one, but we can go through that when we get to the video games a little bit about my losing record. But
I remember the cheap win, just the sweep.
Oh.
Sweep.
Hey, man,
That used to frustrate a lot of folks.
By hook or crook, man, you just got to get it.
Yeah.
And then remember, it was who was it?
Keep 'em away.
Yeah, and then it was always we playing Al.
Yeah.
He would turn the game off, like restart
Complaining
it.
about he couldn't get a hit. That's what everybody be saying. I can't get a hit in. Let me get a hit in.
That's the point. The point's to win. The point's to not get hit. But yeah, I think mine was like seeing you play it and then playing it with you, and then like right after that, I'll take that back. The game didn't come out in 95. The movie came out in 95. Yeah, I had to clear that up. But
it came out in 92.
92.
The arcade version did, yeah.
Have you played the arcade version late or like since then?
Yeah, I had it on Xbox 360.
Oh well, I'm talking about like the actual video game cabinet.
Oh no,
have you been
no.
anywhere?
No.
There was a place in Oklahoma City, flashback. It was like the retro gaming or whatever. And I know we're jumping around to gaming, but we'll get back to it. Mike, that game was stupid hard on in that cabinet, man. Like the stuff that you think, okay, I can do this, it can translate over, did not. Like it was faster. The computer was unfair, but obviously, like for video game cabinets, the point is to get your money, to get your $5,
right?
Like they said. So you keep playing. But let's go ahead and jump into Mortal Kombat in movies now. 1995 Mortal Kombat is probably what I would call I'm gonna go out on a limb, Mike. I'm gonna say it's the greatest video game movie ever made. And I know we just had Mario come out, and I know Sonic made a lot of money. But at 1995, for me, this was one of the greatest movies ever. And I can still go back and rewatch it today. You had Robin Shou as Liu Kang. You had Christopher Lambert as Raiden. You had Hioki Tagawa as Shang Tsung.
Shang Tsung, yeah.
Mike, your thoughts on that 1995 movie, Mike? Because in my mind, I'm thinking it's the greatest movie I've ever seen.
Yeah, I basically have to agree with you about that being the best video game movie. Yeah, it was. I give it a 10 definitely.
Yeah, well, and
because
go ahead.
The video game being a video game, then a movie, and I think it was solid. It was solid.
Yeah, and the fact that it was a PG-13 movie, and obviously the content for Mortal Kombat is rated R. A lot of people probably felt like, oh, it's not like really true to it, I guess. But you had great characters playing like Liu Kang, and like you said, even Christopher Lambert looking back on it as Raiden kind of don't make sense, but but it was still a good Raiden, and the fight scenes there. Mike, what was your favorite off the top of your head? What was your favorite fight from that movie?
Probably Cage and Scorpion.
Man, I'm going Liu Kang and Reptile. That was because that one came out of nowhere, Mike. Nobody saw that one coming. We felt like we saw the Liu Kang, not the Johnny Cage and Scorpion. That was inevitable. It felt like, but the fact where like Liu Kang threw like the actual Reptile into the statue, and that Mortal Kombat voice came in, like when Reptiles drops down from the games and stuff, like Reptile,
right?
And I was like, he came out kicking and punching, man, like just. That was probably my favorite, but
I wish we could have had a little bit more Kano though.
Yeah, Kano. I feel like the way that he
had more screen time in
the way that he
then
died,
they made him sound like a punk begging when he was about to get killed. I didn't like it.
Come on, love, give me a break.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't remember the name of the actor, but he was a really good Kano. Like
yeah.
I think what was cool about that game is because that movie is because that game obviously during a time where we had a story to Mortal Kombat, but it's not to the degree of what we get today. So we didn't know how like Kano sound. We didn't know how we couldn't put a voice to Liu Kang. The only voice we could put to Liu Kang is him mimicking Bruce Lee sort of stuff. That's all we had. But to actually like give like Kano a personality and a voice where like, yeah, he should have probably stuck around to the end of that movie, and then got his that way, got his demise that way. Goro was fantastic for that movie because this is why people ask me why I like animatronics so much, because Goro today, and we saw it and we'll get to it, was a CGI character, and it just did not work for me. Even though we know he has to do some other stuff, be more mobile, I guess. But you didn't need Goro to be mobile in 1995, man. You just need him to just smashing people. What was the black guy's name in that movie? Art, was it Art Lee? Wasn't that his name?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? The demise of like, hey, let's present this new character. And this man he had to know, Mike, who he was fighting. Like, why even warm up for that? He was doing his warming, he was doing his splits before.
He couldn't have known.
Wait, Mortal Kombat can't just be random like this.
Because realistically, if I had known, I ain't taking that one.
But Goro in '95, Goro was a feat to behold, man. Like to this day, that's one of my favorite sort of animatronic characters. But after all this praise of 1995 Mortal Kombat, we then get a cash grab, if you will, right? Of Mortal Kombat Annihilation, dropped in 1990s. Yeah, dropped in 1997. Robin Shou came back as Liu Kang, and none of the other cast from the first movie showed up. Mike, any thoughts on Annihilation?
Just riding.
If Mortal Kombat is if Mortal Kombat 1 is the greatest video game movie, Annihilation has to be the worst.
Has to be.
It's tied with that first Mario movie in my mind, but no, this was worse than that Mario movie. I'll say that this was worse because we go from Liu Kang being such a badass that he was in the first movie to just getting beat up every single time he's in a fight, man. And then they talk about like, they killed Johnny Cage. Let's not forget that.
Oh yeah, that was. I knew watching it then where it was going down the tubes.
Well, Well, let's give some context here, Mike. The ending of that first movie, where a Shao Kahn breaks out of that temple and he says, "Well, like, you weak, pathetic fools, I come for your soul." That image, and then with them sort of getting ready for part two, you're like, that's got to be one of the best cliffhangers in movie history, right there, man. Because you thought it was over, and then here comes Shang Tsung Shao Kahn out of the temple, looking like, okay, this is going to be the next big bad. And then we fast forward to 1997, and that guy playing Shao Kahn, he's always like a goon or a thug in every movie that I feel like. And he's supposed to be the imposer.
His thing was in Cobra.
There it is. So, like, you said that it was rotten. Give me some reasons why you felt like it was just rotten.
Just casting in the story, the synopsis of it. It was,
I give it that. The story was whack. The acting got cheesy too, man. Like it went from being like, granted, it's a fight to your death sort of situation here, right? But even the first one didn't feel cheesy, They somehow made that one feel cheesy. Jax was played by an American gladiator. Can't remember his name. Christopher Lambert didn't come back as Raiden. I know the guy who I should have looked the name up again, but every time I see that guy in a movie, I sort of think like, I don't know, he's a snooze fest to me, man. The guy who played Raiden. Okay, this is where it went off the rails for me, Mike, because in 97, I'm still trying to give it a chance, man. I'm still young enough to be like, okay, it's a fighting movie, let's give it a shot. Where it failed for me, obviously Liu Kang getting beat up every single fight that he was in, and then it felt so cheesy, and then on top of that, the whole animality thing throughout that movie, and not having Nightwolf show, it was, and then the CG, I didn't know it was, I probably knew it was bad or it didn't look good in 97, but I knew in my mind, like, Liu Kang's dragon don't look like that on the game. That's that's where I went to. I was like, he doesn't look like this. Why does he look like this? And that's where I was like, I'm off the ride, man. And that was probably the end of the movie.
Yeah, it was, man.
Oh boy, but then after that movie, we got a few TV shows and stuff within there, which people really enjoyed. But then, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, from 1997 all the way until 2021, we never had another Mortal Kombat movie, right?
Right.
There was nothing. I don't believe there was anything else. So here comes Mortal Kombat 2021. I'll say this. I saw the trailer. I saw Liu Kang. I saw Scorpion. I saw Sub-Zero. I was like, oh, that's going to be pretty good. And then they showed I think they released the first like 10 minutes of it, where Scorpion's entire clan gets killed and his family. I was like, okay, I like where this is going. And then we just say, forget all that. Here's Cole Young, a guy who we don't know anything about, a new character made just for the movie. I was done from then on, man, because I was like, I don't want to follow a guy I don't even know or isn't even a part of the game. So, Mike, your assessment of Mortal Kombat 2021.
For special effects, I mean, that probably was the best thing. Only thing I really liked about it was Goro. I like Goro. That's probably it.
Okay. Let's clarify this for a second. You liked the look of Goro, right?
Right.
But the utilization of Goro was a simple thug, essentially. They Batman Forever. Or was it Batman? No, they Batman and Robin. It was that's the one. Bane, essentially. They baned Goro in that movie. Yeah. So Batman and Robin's Bane. This is everybody at home. Go back, watch that movie, see how they treat Bane. That's essentially what Goro was. He was a thug, and Goro was like a prince of Shokan or something, and he dies in a barn. Like on a farm? Get out of here, man. I gladly take the Johnny Cage nut punch over the mountain any day of the week, man.
Yeah, it didn't make any sense.
I just don't understand, like, why would you give us a character like Cole Young, and then I guess his power was like he adapted to things or something. Even his body was the suit that they had on him looked whack. It was supposed to be his skin, but you could clearly tell it was like a suit or something. It was I didn't know. Point blank, I hated the movie. Like I'll just say that much.
Me too.
Mortal Kombat in movies to this day is very similar to me as like a Ninja Turtles 1990 movie. That's been the be all end all movie for that franchise to this day. 1995's Mortal Kombat is the same for Mortal Kombat. It hasn't been topped since. But and come on, Mike, that 1995 Mortal Kombat theme song. Come on, man.
Oh yeah,
like that's
universally known.
I know, right? Okay, so to why we get to have Mortal Kombat movies, the Mortal Kombat video game. So that first one, like you said, dropped, and then we go from Mortal Kombat 1, Mortal Kombat 2, Mortal Kombat 3. I'm just gonna go off just before we jump into this one that we're getting to now, the newer one that drops in September of 2023. Which Mortal Kombat to you, Mike, stands out as like if you had to pick your top 3 Mortal Kombat video games, what order do you have those in? So let's go. So let's say this. Number 3. What's your number 3 top Mortal Kombat game?
3. I have to say,
you got a lot to choose from.
I know. I like the one that came out. I think it was 10. I think.
Okay. 10 would have been around the time we got like Cassie Cage. So that would have been like her first one, I think.
Yeah, 10.
Okay, number 2.
Mortal Kombat 2.
Okay, that's still okay. And your first one?
1.
Okay. No, and that's wild to say, especially where we got into in video games now, where like you think about all the Mortal Kombat games we've had so far. And in my mind, if I do a top 3 of my own, I loved 11. 11 was really good. 11's easily a top 3 in mine. And it was just so good because they gave us the characters back like we know them. Mike, I might have the same top 2. Mortal Kombat 2 stands out in my mind a whole lot because of that intro to that game. Where, like, I remember, Mike, that you want to talk about an intro for a video game? That like the lightning and stuff flashing with the MK symbol in the middle, that music in between it, and then dun dun.
All the fight scenes.
Yeah. that stands out, and then obviously Mortal Kombat 1, ABAC is gonna be. I'll never forget that. Like that holds like it's something here that it's like, okay, that's a special time, right? But just with those with all those Mortal Kombat games, playing them throughout the years, that resurgence came around the time that you're talking about, like Mortal Kombat 9 or 9 or 10, I think.
Yeah.
It may have been 9. 9 is sort of when they sort of went back to like the original sort of story. And then that's when everything got all like cluttered up and stuff with the timelines. And that's what brings us to the new Mortal Kombat, where we skip over Mortal Kombat 12 and we're going back to Mortal Kombat 1. So just a quick synopsis. So thanks to MK11's big bad Kronika and her hourglass of time and all that stuff, we were able in that game to bring back older characters, even bring characters back from the dead, and then go back in time to like the MK tournament, essentially. Well, not really. We brought them back to this time. It's a very convoluted story when you think about it, but it was all a point to just get to essentially start the franchise over at this point. And who defeats Kronika? The guy who they made a street rat in the last Mortal Kombat movie, Liu Kang, the chosen one of the franchise. He becomes Fire God Liu Kang, defeats Kronika, and now he gets to build, I guess, Earth Realm and all the realms in the way that he wants, in a peaceful realm, right? It feels like Liu Kang's gonna be a benevolent god. You know what I'm saying? Like until you do, you know, you're not for peace, like we saw in that trailer. So, Mike, that trailer drops as of this recording, maybe like 3 days ago. What were your thoughts when you saw that trailer? Because it was one of the best cinematic trailers I think that they've made.
It was really just jaw dropping. I was like, the whole time, like, it was like a what, like, just watching, like, what, like, you know.
Well, and I'm hoping just from like Mortal Kombat 11, I'm sure everybody who are Mortal Kombat fans know that how that ended.
Yeah.
And this is going to be like and I'm sorry to jump in, but this is going to be like a new take on Mortal Kombat as we know it. So they could get another like 20 or so years out of this story alone.
Right. Yeah.
But then we see obviously everything isn't so peaceful because Shang Tsung shows up, and aside from like Cary Tagawa playing Shang Tsung in the last Mortal Kombat game, which is the reason I think I like that game so much, Mike, because we in that game, in Mortal Kombat 11, we got the characters from the first movie that is the GOAT of video game movies, right? So I think having him as Shang Tsung in that one made it so much better. But then seeing Shang Tsung, the character design and all this in the new one, I don't know how he beats a guy at this time, Mike, but what do you think that game's gonna be like? Like, obviously we saw some of the story, but what do you think's gonna happen?
I mean, that's like the big mystery. You know, it's like, I think it's gonna be like a big shock or surprise or something, you know, between Liu Kang and Shang Tsung. You know, that's where the battle always been.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it's a little different this time because Liu Kang's he's not just Liu Kang anymore. He's Fire God Liu Kang. And that comes with we saw the end of that trailer. If you test peace, you're gonna die. Like he's gonna destroy you. Which I'm sort of playing both sides of the coin because I'm like, okay, what if somehow and I don't want this to happen. Liu Kang is like the tyrant in this one. Like he's doing all this for the betterment of the world or the realms or whatever, but he ends up being like the bad guy at the end of it. I hope not, because I didn't like and we can go back to it, Deadly Alliance, right? We talked about this when Mortal Kombat came back, and we were like, oh great, we get another Mortal Kombat. And that first 5 minutes of that intro or 3 minutes of that intro, they break Liu Kang's neck and he's not in the game. You want to talk about, we rented that game from Blockbuster. I wanted to take it back because Liu Kang was my guy from day one, man.
Yeah, everybody's guy.
I know, and he's the chosen one, right? And they go through all this about him being like a zombie and then a revenant, and he comes back to life. And thank God we got Mortal Kombat 11, where again, why I like it so much, we brought that original character back, and that was probably the coolest Liu Kang has been in like the last 15 years, man. And now he's a god overseeing the realms. Like I'm more anxious to see other things within it too, because Sub-Zero and Scorpion just seemed, I don't know, man. I want them on the same team. That's what I want the most of. And I think that would be a different story, because they're going to have to tell different stories with this now, Mike.
We'll still have, that's what I thought.
Yeah, we'll still have like the evil Shang Tsung and whatever else evils lurk out there, right? But I feel like we'll still, how far did he go back? Because the great Kung Lao is there now, the original sort of Mortal Kombat champion who saved the world, you know?
Right.
how does he play into it? And they show Raiden I don't know if people been asking in the comments, was that Raiden? It's like, who else is walking around with a hat like that? Of course that's Raiden. At the beginning of it, it was Raiden and the Great Kung Lao were together. I'm like, how Raiden not being a god, how's that gonna play? Especially in the game too. Sub-Zero and Scorpion, I want them to be brothers somehow, man. Just make it. It's Liu Kang's new world. You can make whatever you want, Mike. It's a blank canvas.
Right.
So, so I'm asking you, if you saw that trailer, blank canvas, what parts of that game trailer do you want to actually happen? Like, because I'll tell you, Sub-Zero, Scorpion, I want them as partners. They once were two, now they're one. That's what I want. And obviously, Liu Kang is Liu Kang. He's a guide. I mean, there's nowhere else to go but from there. So that's what I want the most of it. What would you write into this new Mortal Kombat 1 world?
Well, I'd prefer to see Scorpion and Sub-Zero like still at each other's throat.
Really?
Yeah, and I sort of like the bad guys or whatever. So I'm sort of like 50-50. I could get on board with Fire God Liu Kang being like a tyrant, you know.
But see, and that's
but then it'll sort of it sort of wouldn't like go over well because of I don't think it would go over well because you think about Liu Kang, you know, like all it'd be like the good evil defeating the good, you know.
Yeah, it'll be totally reversed. Like I don't.
But just something different. Yeah, I sort of like to see him rule like that,
like with an iron fist sort of thing.
Yeah.
He in that trailer he did seem like it was. I said earlier he is a benevolent god, but I don't. After thinking more about it, I'm like, okay, if you test him, Shang Tsung got his old body slipped, like split in half through his head, man. Like just imagine getting your head smushed through yourself. But I don't know, man. I really want. I'm sure whatever story they come up with is going to be pretty well put together because they've had a lot of time between 11 and now. But even thinking about how much story they put behind Mortal Kombat 11, because we got that original story and we got Mortal Kombat Aftermath, the downloadable story after the release, remember? So we got like full circle stories told, and I'm feeling like with this one, I'm sure we're not going to, I guess, deviate too much from like what we know, but change it enough so that, okay, Mortal Kombat 1 starts now. 15, 20 years from now, we're talking about that same storyline that keeps going. Because, Mike, let's be honest, man, they got a lot out of a video game story for these last, 30 years?
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was our deep dive into Mortal Kombat Fandom. Like I said, the next video game drops in September. We'll be all anxious to play that and figure out what that story is going to be like. Be sure to follow All Star Fandom Show on Instagram at All Star Fandom Show, along with subscribing here on YouTube, hitting the subscribe, hitting the notifications button, doing all the social media stuff that we always ask you to do. Links to everything are in the comment section below. Mike, just want to, and also thanks you for watching. And Mike, I just want to say thank you for having the time to jump on with me and sort of go back in time or go down memory lane about our love of Mortal Kombat.
No problem. It was great. I gotta do it again.
Oh yeah, this won't be the last time. So to everybody out there watching, thanks for watching. Until next time, peace.